Yep. But moving on to the second fight of the card, we got a lightweight matchup between Diego Ferreira, who is 17-3 and is the plus 150 underdog, going up against Gregor Gillespie, who is 13-1 and is the minus 185 underdog. Favorite. What's your thoughts on this fight?
I like this matchup for a lot of reasons. Both of these guys have been faced off with top 10 contenders and are looking to take that next step. You have Ferreira, who has 8 wins in the UFC, with one of them being a second round rear naked choke win over Anthony Pettis just last year. And then you have Gregor Gillespie, who since entering the UFC has gone 6-1 with wins over Yancy Medeiros and Vince Pichel. Both of these guys are coming off a loss, with Ferreira losing to Beneil Dariush in February via split decision, and then Gregor dropping his last fight to Kevin Lee via TKO, and that was 2 years ago. So there's a long layoff between Gregor and his previous fight to this one. The way I see this fight is that Gregor is going to get this to the ground. That's his game. That's his bread and butter, getting it to the ground, and he's going to use his world-class ground game to get the win. But with Ferreira, he can get it done standing and on the ground. He's a really good BJJ practitioner as well, which may present a problem to Gillespie. Another thing I have to take into account is that layoff for fights between Gillespie. That fight with Kevin Lee was in 2019, and he's going up against a guy who is slightly more active, not like super active. He's not going up against a Kevin Holland or anything, but he's going up against somebody who's slightly more active, which has impacted my decision, to be honest with you. This was probably the toughest one for me to go with. I like Gregor's style. I love his ground game. He's like a wet blanket. He just smothers you. But I'm going to go with Ferreira, actually, by decision. I think that he's going to, because of his ground game, he's going to pose a different threat than Gregor's previous opponents.
Yeah, we got Ferreira, who's fighting out of Texas. He's Brazilian, and then you got Gillespie, who's fighting out of Long Island. Of course, he's American. Diego's 36 to Gregor's 34. They're both weighing at 155, and then the reach advantage goes to Ferreira at 55. I mean, no, his height is 5'9", and then Gregor is 5'7", and then the reach advantage is 74 to Diego to 71 of Gregor Gillespie. He's fighting Ferreira's fighting out of Fortis MMA, and then Gillespie's fighting out of Long Island MMA, and then he also fights out of Belmore Kickboxing MMA. They both are wrestling style fighters. You see here, Ferreira is a solid striker that has stats to back it up. That he's known for standing up, but he's no slouch when it comes to taking down. They both have a similar style of getting the guy down and then doing the ground and pound. But the advantage with that is Gillespie, he's more aggressive with his attempts. And it's like he's very good at striker. He's more accurate. He doesn't have to throw as much to connect. And I feel like I'm going to cut to the chase here and just go short here. Even though with the layoff, I feel like he lost to a better fighter than Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, right before he had the double leg surgery in his last fight, which was the fight after the Gillespie fight, he was looking at the best he had, and then he gave Gillespie his one loss in his career, and he's coming off of that. Gillespie took that time off. He used it to his advantage. He's been training nonstop. He was supposed to fight a month and a half ago against Brad Riddell, and that got pulled the day of. And now he's booked with Diego Ferreira, whereas Drew Dober is booked in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, against Brad Riddell.
Against Brad Riddell. And so it's not like he hasn't been booked. He was booked for that. So he was training then. So this is just going to be a little bit more training on his belt, whereas Ferrer, this is his first booked fight in a while. And he hasn't fought since actually 2 months ago. He lost to Dariush.
Yeah.
So whereas it's been 1 year for Gillespie. So, like, I feel like it's going to be a little bit beneficial to Gillespie, knowing that he was just training a month ago, and then now Ferreira's like coming in on just 1 month's notice to train for him. And I feel like what's going to happen is I don't think anybody's going to get knocked out or submitted. I think it's going to be all about the who's going to get the takedown and who's going to control the fight on the ground first. Because I think that's what's going to happen. And I think Gillespie is going to be the stronger guy, the guy that's going to smother Ferreira because of his aggressiveness. I think Ferreira, he's good on the ground, but he's less aggressive. He's just trying to get you down and just go. Gillespie, that's his main objective. He's trying to get you down. He's trying to do the ground and pound. And he's pretty good with his elbows. I feel like he's going to get him down. He's going to switch between stances. And it's just going to wear out Ferreira because once Ferreira starts to stand up, he's not going to have all that power and all that striking because his gas tank is going to be so worn out from being down and fighting off of the clinch. And I feel like it's going to be probably like a 3-round like dominance by Gillespie. I got Gregor Gillespie by unanimous decision, 3 rounds to none.
I kind of figured this would be the fight that we would disagree on, the first fight that we would disagree on. That change in opponent's huge, I think, at least for me. Riddell's a kickboxer, so he's not going to threaten you on the ground. So Gregor is, in my mind, training for a kickboxer. Also, I don't know how much training he was getting in those years because he's from New York, and New York shut down and had some of the hardest COVID restrictions. You know, you and I are an earshot away from New York, and we know exactly how hard it is. Where, you know, Ferreira is fighting in Fortis. He's fighting the Darren Williams owned Fortis gym. Do you know that?
Yeah,
that's crazy. But that's not the point. He's fighting in Texas, which is a lot more lenient. You know, they didn't close for as long as New York did. New York still kind of closed down. So I don't know how much training was going in there. But again, Gregor is world class on the ground, like you said. This was obvious. This was honestly a pick'em for me, and I just went with the underdog. I was like, I'm going to pick an underdog in this one. I enjoy Gregor's style. I enjoy his tattoos as a geek myself. Love his tattoos, but I'm curious to see where this one goes. This is a hell of a matchup at lightweight for sure.
Yeah, if Diego Ferreira could catch him early and catch him before the takedown and just stun him with a strike, I feel like he'll have a good chance of winning. But I feel like he has to do it early. I feel like he has to do it to where he prevents him from like going with the takedown. Some shot where it makes him like change game plans instead of going for the takedowns. Gregor tries to stand up and trade with them. That would be Diego's best bet in this matchup.
Yeah, he's got to cut off the cage, right?
Yes.
He's got to go in there, bite down on his mouthpiece, push to the end, and get him right to get Gregor's heels on the back of the cage so he can't get any shots. If he leaves wide open space, it's game over. He's going to put him on the ground.